I'd like to, at this time, bring up Department of Public Works, Warren Lee and Brandon. So if you could identify yourself for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
For the record, I'm Warren Lee, representing the Department of Public Works. With us today, we have Brandon Gonzalez, Deputy Director, and our division heads, Ben Ishii, Acting Vince Kasarkis for Highway Division, Ron Thiel, Sai Yoshioka from Accounting, and Diane Shiro from Accounting also, David Yamamoto and from Building, and Mel Lorenzo from Highways. So we have a 20-slide presentation, but we certainly can go through this real quick. A lot of it is just pictures. Pictures worth 1,000 words, and maybe we'll stop on some that you think you may want to expound on or may ask questions. But for Ms. Ford, just want to let her know that we do have a draft for the Air National Guard ready to go. We just didn't want to show everybody up, and say that we had a draft application for work. There's a road in Limbo we want to do up in Lapahoihoi. And for Ms. Poindexter, we want to also put in that application to the Air National Guard for them to take care of Mana Road, the whole thing. That'll give them good training. So let's start off real quick. Our mission next. Our organization next. I think everybody knows that. We consist of 5 divisions.
Hold on 1 second. While Nora gets set again. Just making sure that we have your presentation up. There we go. Okay. Thank you.
And pictures worth 1,000 words is the Automotive Division at work. Repair and maintenance of county vehicles, everything except mass transit, because they have their own 3 diesel mechanics, police and fire. Otherwise, we take care of the whole county fleet. Building division, this is what we do. We permit structures, and obviously the one in the middle, we didn't permit. But what you're looking at in the lower right-hand corner is the plan view, aerial view of the West Hawaii Civic Center. The next slide, engineering division. We do road work, road reconstruction, road design, work also with the federal highways and consultants on getting it done. What you're looking at right now is Kaiminani Drive under reconstruction, and also some of the work that we do engineering from the standpoint of flood studies. The next highway maintenance division, we're going to about 1,000 miles of road, sidewalks, drainage, roads in limbo, dry wells and culverts. Highway maintenance, here's a road in limbo, before and after. Obviously, you know what the after looks like, right? I mean, I don't have to explain that to you. Okay. The traffic division, traffic signals, education. What you see is the installation of a smart sign going up, and this is in the Waikoloa area. LED street light conversion also going on. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see the white circle. That is an LED light. If you look at the bottom middle circle, that is a traffic signal and a low-pressure sodium light. So you can see that it's different, and it's friendly, and there's about a 60% energy savings. When you look at the LED light, which is in the upper right-hand corner, it's measured by bars, and in this case, it's a 3-bar light. And this is what the intersection looks like. And when you look at the bottom, it's at Kamehameha and Manono. Our department responsibilities, I don't have to read this to you. I think you guys got it all memorized. But certainly I won't repeat it in the interest of time and the time of day. The operating budget for the department is $43.5 million, broken down by general fund and the highway fund. In this case, the highway fund of $28 million does not include mass transit. General fund, the functions, broken down by building, automotive, engineering, and administration, and flood control. The general fund by expenditure type, salaries and wages, comprise 52% of the expenditures for general fund. The remainder is operations. Now, just as a side note, what we have in our budget, like everyone else, is we do not have any furloughs for the next fiscal year. For the general fund, the fiscal for the fiscal year 12-13 is $370,000. The highway fund by function, you got highways, highway maintenance, traffic, mass transit, and we also got a slot for roads and limbo. And because it is a highway fund, they contribute their pensions and contributions. Yeah? Highway fund by expenditure type, salaries and wages, operations, and capital projects. The furlough value here is about $358,000. One thing I do want to mention, because it's been said several times since this morning, is the impact of unfunded positions. There's two across the board for the department. We're averaging about 11.2% of our positions are unfunded. We have two sections or two divisions that are higher than the 11.2, and that is the highways division, which is running about 12%, and the engineering division, which is running about close to 20%. So when you take a look at what the total is over the 5-year period that we're moving into, you can see, well, quick numbers, 20% times 5 is basically you lost a year if this continues. That's just rough numbers. The operating budget for the general fund, and this is just to give you a comparison how we matched it up. So obviously, if we don't have furloughs, or we want everyone to work and we want to increase productivity, but we have to do it someplace, and the criteria was to stay within the budget from last year, and that's what you just wanted to show, where each section made that contribution towards the submittal of this budget. Automotive division, and just some highlights here again. More pictures, little charts. This is what they do. If the green bar is above the blue bar, that means we're above the national average as far as the age of the fleet. Okay. And the pie chart just shows you what the fleet consists of, fleet and equipment. It consists of light vehicles, heavy equipment, and miscellaneous things like trailers, generators, weed whackers, whatever. Anything that moves or makes noise, they repair. That's not living. The automotive division, again, some sampling. This is just some of the older vehicles. So again, vehicle purchases and equipment purchases we've put off for a number of years. We got pieces of vehicles, trucks, dumpers, going back to 1986 with well into about 200,000, maybe more miles. We also got heavy equipment, which is not measured by miles, but by operating hours, and they're pretty high also. They go back to 1974 and even to the 1989 range. The building division, just to give you an idea what's happening here, this is building permits. You can see since 2008 the number of permits have dropped significantly, and this is building permits. But the point I'm trying to make here is that when someone applies for a permit, someone has to process that permit, someone has to review the application, and someone has to out-process that permit to issue it so that the inspector can get to work. So although the building permits have decreased, we see in 2012 and 2013 building permits itself are starting to increase. So when you translate this from a plan review to an application process to an inspection process, it does take time to train people. You just can't say, tomorrow I'm going to hire a building inspector that knows the code, the 2006 IBC, the county code. It takes about at least a year to 2 years to train someone to be a competent inspector, because you are dealing with contractors who have a livelihood and who make schedules and who have things to keep on schedule, and they need to do it right, and we need to make sure they do it right before they do it wrong. So otherwise, a lot of time wasted and a lot of money wasted. So the point here is that permits we're starting to see an increase relative, if you add in to the administrative or the clerical work that goes along with permitting. Electrical permits, you can add 3,258 to that building permit in 2012, add about 3,800 for electrical permits and 2,000 more for plumbing permits. So total about close to 10,000, 9,000 to 10,000 permits go through the department, East Hawaii and West Hawaii, each year. And again, this is not a boom year. So the other thing that I'd like to talk about is that when we look at our engineering projects, next slide. You see a spike here. The top line with the, I guess the square is the FHWA project. That spike is due to the RF funding for the Anekio-Kololi Highway. If you look at the the middle orange line, that is the county projects. You can see that the county projects have decreased. Again, most of this is funded by bond funds directly from the county. Supported by the county. So the practice or the philosophy here is that if we can qualify a project for a STIP, for federal highway funds, which is basically a 20-80 cost sharing, we pay 20%, they pay 80%. If it qualifies as a major collector, or maybe at least maybe sometimes a minor collector, but it gotta be major collector or an arterial road. So that would qualify. But when you start talking about the smaller local roads, that got to be county funded. So you can see the decrease in expenditures have been the result of tightening our belts, or the county tightening its belt. And that's the way it is. We're fortunate we're able to get the ARA money and build a nice major arterial. But I also got to say it doesn't end there. We're still working. Engineers work, even though there is no construction money. You got to get your drawings ready to advertise, which means you got to be permitted, and it got to have been gone through the design phase. So along those lines, we got Kaiminani Phase 2 in the pot on the burner. We got Kawalani, and we got Manono. Also, then those are STIP projects, by the way. And for the County of Hawaii projects, we got the Hokulea Bypass Phase 2. We got the Kapiolani Extension, which is by bond money, county bond money, and the La'aloa Extension, North Mauka and Makai on the burners. So a lot of work to do, but you can put it on the oven, but you got to get it off the pot, you got to get it cooked, and you got to get it served. And at some point in the near future, we'll be coming back and say we need to fund these projects which are not funded. So if you ask me the question, which I heard you folks ask everybody else, so you probably asked me the same thing, Warren, if you had $1 million, what would you do? And this is what we would do. This is how we would break it down. We went back after this morning, after you asked all this, we'll put this slide together real quickly. Brandon, do you want to expound on this real quickly? We got only 4 minutes left.
Real quickly, we have identified positions that would make work more efficient, and allow us to do more work and output more work for administration and building. The positions and the equipment, for building division, we're looking at permitting clerks, inspectors, plan reviewers. Also looking at e-plan review module. Right now, when there's a building plan being routed for approval and review, it's carried to each agency and each person takes their turn looking at it. What we want to do is kind of move away from that sequential review and let everybody look at an electronic version, hopefully at the same time, to speed up the process. For engineering division, they're also looking for equipment and software. They updated their AutoCAD from 2000, and now they're more current, but their computers from 2004 can't handle the new software. So if our engineering division is being asked to do these nice federal projects, it would help to give them the equipment to be able to do it. Also, our surveying section, they need some vehicles, and our inspection section. Highway labor, they are always out there busting their butts, maintaining the roadways for us, and so that helps with the flood control. We just got 2 flood control areas recertified this year, Alenayo, and the other one escapes me, but that was a major accomplishment for highways this year in addressing the flood control. Thank you. Next slide.
Okay, so are you ready for questions?
Oh, no, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Why don't we move to the next one, highway fund. Okay, so now this is the highway fund, and you asked me, what would you do if we have $2 million more to spend? 2 million. 2 million. You know, 2 million. We went up. The ante went up.
Okay, so this is a separate 2 million from the 1.
Right. This is 1.8 is general fund. 2 million is highway fund. So our good friends, Mass Transit, said they didn't need anything, so we're going to take it all. I mean, we're proposing to use it all. We're proposing to use it all. So $2 million. Where does the $2 million come from? The most likely and probably best way to do this, if we want to improve our roadway infrastructure or highway fund, is to perhaps raise the fuel tax increase. So the fuel tax increase right now, the next slide, Brent. Current rate is 8.8 cents. To get the $2 million, it needs to go up to 11 cents per gallon. And that'll get us $2 million more in revenue. Okay, so that's a 2.2 cents increase. So if you got a 20-gallon tank, that means every time you go to the service station, 44 cents a gallon, 44 cents for your tank extra. And if you go once a month, you multiply that by 12. So that's, let's say, 48 cents, 50 cents times 12, $6 a year gives us
One tank a month.
$2 million on one tank a month. If you get 2 tanks a month, double that. Okay, multiply by 2, or add the same amount.
But still.
So that'll get us $2 million, and that's what 2.2 cents increase, or 11 cents per gallon fuel tax increase for the county of Hawaii results in. And this is based on the current level of consumption, which is about 90 million gallons a year. 90 million gallons.
19.
90.
Oh,
Yeah. So I just wanted to demonstrate that if we had this increase, what would we do with it? But this is the current state. Next slide. If you look at this slide, you look at the middle orange line, which starts off with 26.24, goes 26.51, 23.36. That is the number of miles that we resurfaced in fiscal year 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 4.57 year to date, part of a year for this current year. And you look at what the fuel tax is, that's the bottom orange line. I mean, the amount that was allocated to road resurfacing, 1.6 million. And then you look at the price, the blue line at the top, that's the price of asphalt. So from 2006, which is not shown here, I just added this. In 2006, asphalt was $66 per ton. The next year was $89 per ton, then went to $99 per ton, $107, to the current rate today, which is $115 per ton. And all this time, the fuel tax rate for the county of Hawaii was at 8.8 cents. And the collections was about the same, the total collections. You can see the 1.6. So the point here is that what is the impact? The impact is we're paving much less than we would like to pave. If you base your road life cycle on anywhere from 20 to 30 years, we should be paving 30 to 35 miles per year, repaving 30 to 35 miles per year. So if we want to get back up there, we need to do something. If not, it is what it is, and we do the best we have with what we got. So if we have a pothole, we call it, instead of being half empty, we make it half filled. It's a speed depression, you know? So we look at everything positively, and we hope you can live with us for that. And we make the choices, and we have to make choices, and we have only so much to work with, and we do the best we can. Obviously, having $2 million is not a matter of just saying, here's $2 million, go do it. We've got to look at what we want to do. We're going to say, okay, so much of this will go to the highway division, so much will go to the traffic division, so much of this will go to engineering. And then when you get down, say, to the highway division, we've got to make the decision, okay, what do we need? We can't just buy equipment. We need men to run the equipment. We just can't get men. We can't get men to work with pick and shovels, or screeds. We got to get men to work with heavy equipment. So it's a combination of manpower, equipment, and in addition to accommodating the price of the AC, if we want to move towards the life cycle of 30 to 35 years on our AC pavement. Next. That's it. Green light, you go.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Willie?
Yeah.
Her light is on.
Okay. Warren's one of my constituents, so
So be careful.
be careful.
No roads for you.
Okay, just first I want to ask about some specifics, like on where it seems like that where there's private money coming in, and how do we get those where there's private money partnerships and get the projects done, such as the Parker School, the raised crosswalk that I did that lawsuit on, and Parker School said, we've got the check, let's go. And as far as I know, the check is still in their hand waiting for you all to accept that check. So I see that one, or I'm not sure, same thing, Long's Drugstore, working, I believe they've offered or have offered some money in terms of crosswalk. I don't know what's happening there. And then third, in the Lapahoihoi Homestead Government Road project that I worked on getting those federal funds over and private money coming in, sort of landowner, a couple $100,000 there, or I don't know how much from the Feds, $750,000 or more, and sort of pulling those projects together, and they seem, just for me, that they get lost, and whether it's you all or the Corporation Council writing whatever memorandums of understanding or whatever that paperwork is when we're trying to combine funds from different entities, and how to make that more efficient, or make that make the project happen. And so I don't know if you want to, some of this I can discuss with you alone on specifics, but I feel like on a, it's just sort of examples of an area that I worry we're not dealing with. Do we not have enough staff, one place or another? I don't know. Where is the obstacle? Why isn't even, like, how many years ago the Parker School thing gotten done, or the, yeah.
Councilwoman Willie, well, first of all, let me say that partnerships are great. And I see many forms of partnerships and projects that we get involved with, whether it be a rezoning project in which formal conditions apply or are imposed upon the developer or the owner. That's one form of partnership. The other partnership is what the community negotiates with the developer outside of a formal agreement, subject to like rezoning. It's I guess, community support for a project for an area that's already been rezoned, like we mentioned Parker School. So relative to the Parker School crosswalk, raised crosswalk, when we looked at what the raised crosswalk would do, there would be some drainage issues as far as how do we deal with that, and we've come up with several options, and I think we're pretty close to finalizing that option, and then getting our highways crew to do it so that we can stay within the amount that was contributed to by Parker School, so that the raised crosswalk with proper drainage can be done. There's also some concern about the impact on the parking for the park over there. The Long's Drugstore, this crosswalk and the flashing light, that's in the designs. The design is completed or almost completed. We're waiting for the contribution from Long CVS. We gave them, they asked for an invoice. We sent them an invoice. They said it would take about 30 days. So it's about maybe 2 or 3 weeks out from, maybe 2 weeks out from receiving the check if their process is 30 days. Lapahoihoi, in working with the Forest Reserve Forest Service engineer, I think he realized it's much more costly than he had originally estimated, based on the pardon the pun, the crossings of the deep forest.